This is the thing. Who you choose to hang around with, who you choose to have in your posse is exactly who you become. Choose your posse wisely. I'm here to tell you that putting yourself first is not selfish, it's revolutionary. Welcome to the Woman Warrior Podcast, empowering women to light their lives on fire through Ayurveda, yoga, spirituality, and fitness.
Jai Bhagwan, Women Warriors, and welcome to the Woman Warrior Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Satyavani, and as always, I have my fabulous co-host here with me today.
Prajna Madhavi. Hi, everybody.
Yay!
Yay.
Today is Valentine's Day.
Yes, it is.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I know. This is very interesting because both Praj and I have very different Valentine's Day stuff. I'm married. And Praj is single. And Praj is single. So, gorgeous gentlemen out there. If you are looking for a super fit, super smart, very hot, brilliant, successful, dog-loving woman, drop a note in the comments.
Maybe an option. I don't know.
Could be an option. Who knows? Well, today, friends, we are actually going to talk about the idea of love, sex, and energy from an Ayurvedic perspective here on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. I'm actually excited for this conversation.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
When I thought about it, I was like, if we do Valentine's Day, I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just talk about it. Because Ayurveda, it has such a great perspective on all of it.
Could not agree more.
Very meaningful perspective on all of it.
That is the key word there, meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Could not agree more. But before we get started, we always do our wellness check-in. Mm-hmm. And I think this week it's going to be a fun one, as a matter of fact. So, girl, I'm going to check in with you first.
Okay.
How's it going? What's the 5 Koshik level?
So physical, I'm kind of fighting off a little something. Got just a little frog in my throat and a little bit of stuffiness. I got my, evidently, I don't know what you call it, but some sort of winter rash, which is Pitta driven.
Yep.
So a lot of hot, cold change, which happens to me every year. It just seems to, I don't know if it's getting older, probably, hormones.
Yeah, and also the climate.
Yeah.
I mean, the climate here in Idaho during the wintertime is cold and dry. Mm-hmm. And, well, and you read about it in the medical text.
I did, which was awesome.
Yep.
Like I'm so glad I have that, because just reading that, I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just like your dry skin, like that is an effect of being in a dry climate and having the hot and cold.
Absolutely.
So anytime if I think about what I do, I walk my dog out in the cold, and then I go teach a hot yoga class, and then I
put your seat warmer on your car.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Burning your back and your ass.
Yeah. Stop doing that. And I was like, maybe that's not a good idea. And then just my furnace in my house. Like, I have a tiny little house, and it heats it up really fast, and just that dry heat. So
well, and then you teach school all day in a room that is dry with HVAC.
Yep.
And electric lights.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot there.
And I don't think people really realize the impact of climate on your health.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is underrated. People always think that it's like, oh, it's a bacteria. Oh, it's a virus. Oh, I contracted it by, touching this or not doing that or whatever.
I'm Vata. I'm already dry. I already have a lot of dryness in my skin. Yep. This could be a huge reason to move to Mexico.
Which, for the record, is the 5-year plan. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. So
when we're doing this podcast in Mexico 5 years from now, and be like, okay.
Exactly.
No
Rewind to this episode so you know why it is that we're in Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, no, and my Michael, he's having the same exact problem.
Joints. I've got knee pain. I've got
everything aches.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is that not to step in on your report, my experience is I wake up coughing, and there's nothing in there to cough. It's just this dry hack. Oh, it's so irritating.
Yeah.
And the also swollen. Mm-hmm. My hands swell a little bit in the because of the dryness and all that. So I feel you, sister.
Yeah.
This is the heart of the rough season for
It is. February is
especially-
not my favorite month,
No.
and not just because of Valentine's Day.
No.
But
it's also your birthday month.
it is
Yay.
at the end. Yeah,
At the end.
Yay.
Final day.
Yep.
But then we go right into March.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So continue.
So on an energetic level, just went and saw the wonderful Christine Souza this week, and so
True North.
yeah, and she's fabulous. If you can go see her, she's marvelous. My energy or my energetic, she basically said I'm on fire.
Yep.
Transformation, the fire of transformation is just huge right now, so I'm dealing with that.
I'm dealing with that. Coping.
Yeah, which is probably also, we talk about the climate and the knee pain and the joints, but it's also energetic. Like I'm dealing with, like this is the beauty of what we do. It's the layers of the self. It's not just, oh, my knee hurts. There must be a meniscus tear or something, which is where my mind goes. But it's
Or my hip hurts. I need a hip replacement. No, literally. So we have this joke for the record, everybody, that we call it, I'll just give you the $20.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when Praj has something that's happening and she calls me, she's like, all right, I've got this thing. I'm like, just give me the copay. Just give me the $20 rather than going to the doctor or urgent care. Just give me the $20.
yeah. So there's that. So you look into, knee pain and, there's the masculine, feminine side. But a lot of it's your foundation. So she had to realign my solar plexus and my root chakra. Shocker. And then she also said that my heart is very open right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
Perfect for
Which
Valentine's Day.
it was very closed the last time I went, and I could definitely feel that. And I've felt it definitely opening the last 2-3 weeks. So
You're opening up, girl.
yeah,
When we first met, it was a closed cave.
lockdown.
Shit was on lockdown.
Yeah,
And now just like wide open to adventure, to love, to all sorts of things.
yeah,
I'm proud of you.
yeah. Mentally, emotionally, I've been a little bit of an emotional, not wreck, but just emotions going on with this whole heart opening thing.
Absolutely.
I have emotions, anxiousness, excitement, trying to get out of my head, thinking about things, with all of that. And so that's a challenge for me. I like to live in my head a lot. So
That's what you Vatas do.
yeah. So trying to really not do that. One thing that Christine mentioned when I saw her was pay attention to my intuition. And that's the battle between the mental and the intuition is I listen to my intuition, but then my head comes up with some reason as to why I shouldn't.
Hi, Jack.
So that's been something that I'm trying to do more. Candle gazing, which then brings into the spiritual. I finally pulled an oracle card.
Ooh.
Yeah. The day I saw her.
Okay.
That one was fascinating because it was, and I'm going to forget.
Which deck?
Of my favorite, the
Kali deck.
Kali deck.
Gotta love the Kali deck.
Kali Devi, the nurturer.
Yes.
And I cried. It was just, with my heart opening and things like that. I think I just, that motherly just want to be held by something and just know that you're nurtured. Because she also mentioned that my left knee that's your receiving side.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, okay, I'm not receiving that nurturing, whatever that is. And so, yeah, that was nice to pull that card and realize that that's probably a major factor. So
Awesome.
and spiritually, just keep trying to work on that more and more. More candle gazing, more oracle card pulling, more believing that the universe has my back.
Because it does.
Yep. And
That's awesome.
that's me.
Seeing Christine is like a game changer. I feel like I have to go quarterly for a tune-up. So shout out for Christine Souza.
Yes.
For those of you that are in the Boise area, True North is the name of her company. And you should definitely see her. She is not only a Reiki energy healer, she is also a death doula, which is fascinating. We're going to have her on the show.
Yeah.
Got to have her back.
Yeah, when we
And-
do energy,
Yeah.
we definitely need to.
when we get to the energetic level
Yep.
this year. Gonna bring her in, and she also is a fabulous pet psychic. So had her on speed dial during the transition of Safari, and then also the introduction of Marrakesh, and Harlequin. So she knows the kitties well, but and she worked with bonsai.
Yep, she did. King Bonsai.
Oh, that king, living that life.
She's like, he just seems like he's a king. And I'm like, well, he is. You should see all of his thrones in the house.
Many thrones.
Many thrones.
I love it. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So what about you?
Ooh, girl.
Ooh, girl.
It's a thing. So
By the way, we're loving these tables.
Yes!
These chairs. We were talking about how now we can see more of our arms, which is awesome.
let me show.
So shout out to
Yes, to SB,
SB
for the new
and the
table
crew.
talk. I
Yeah,
love it.
It's nice.
No, the table's really nice, and we are the first podcast at SB Studios that gets to use the table.
Blessed.
So I'm super honored.
So back to girl. How you feeling?
Oh god. So physically, I'm coming to the end of bulking season. We are at 14 of February. I've got another 14 days.
Eat up.
I know. You said that. It's like
Eat the food.
I got to make a list of all of the things it is that I want to eat before this is over. I'm like, pizza's on the list. I go the whole thing. But the other day I was teaching yoga and I had to put on my yoga shorts, and they were a little snug. And at first, because of programming and previous disordered eating, I was like, oh my god, you're getting fat. And then all of a sudden I was like, no, my booty popping. I was so excited because, as you know, I've been working on building my legs and my glutes for the past 5-6 months. And it's all of a sudden, it just kind of popped out. I was like, all right, this is good. So we're going to try to maintain the glutes when we go into shred season.
Yeah.
But that was a really good discovery. And then also we did the DECA hybrid camp together.
Yes, we did.
Last Sunday. So shout out to Kilgore Coaching and Grayson Kilgore for running the DECA camps and the High Rocks camps.
He's great.
So good.
Yep.
And the crowd that's there, they're just
Good group.
really solid group of people. Fit individuals who are focused, who really are working on so many things. It was so great.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of being, because we had an odd number, I had the pleasure of being teamed up with Katie Duke, who we're going to have on the show, who is just an incredible human and also a DECA world champion.
Yeah. Phenomenal athlete.
Holy
and
cow.
Very humble and very kind.
Just a beast of a person and an incredible human. So
Yeah.
that was really a lot of fun. And she gave me some great pointers because we have our first race of the season this weekend.
Yes, we do. Tomorrow.
Yep. And you're running as a team, you
am.
and JoJo,
Yep.
which will be
I'm
great.
excited. She's a beast.
You guys are going to be a great team.
Yeah.
You're going to be a great team. So I'm super excited for you guys.
Yep.
And I'll be there cheering you on.
Awesome.
But hybrid camp was rough.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So literally, I think it was 2 hours. It was close to 2 hours.
Yeah. 90 minutes.
And it was longer than 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was. You're right. He talked for the first
Yeah.
few, but then it was pretty much straight. Yeah.
I got to tell you, when we left camp and I went home and then I ate a bucket of food and I took a nap and I woke up and I was like, I don't think I can get off this bed. It was brutal, but
I taught
so
yoga,
good.
which I think was maybe a little saving grace.
That
it was
helped
still
you.
tiring, but it loosened my muscles up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, I would have felt very similar.
Oh, it was rough.
Freaking three assault bikes in a row.
Dude, who does that?
Grayson does.
True statement. We love you,
To make you better.
Grayson. We love you, Grayson.
Yeah.
But it was brutal. Assault bike over the shoulders.
Yep, assault bike.
Assault bike over the
shoulder.
shoulders. Assault bike over the shoulders 3 times in a row. I didn't realize that we had to do 3 stations in a row.
I didn't either.
I literally did not realize. I thought it was he just set up 3 bikes,
Yeah.
for people to choose.
Yeah.
And Katie's like, you got 2 more rounds. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible.
That was the same thing with the box step overs in the rows. And I was like, wait, there's 2 set up here. That means we got to do it twice?
Like literally the worst stations.
Yeah.
It's like, give me a couple farmers carries. I'll take that.
Yeah.
But that was brutal. But it feels so good when you're done.
Yeah.
I ran my Apple Watch during that. And when it was over, that was an 870 calorie burn.
Dang.
From that 90 minutes. It was like, oof. But it was awesome.
More like 700. Joe and I split up the last 2 assault bikes.
You guys are
Strategy.
smart. Yeah. Fair. I wasn't getting out of it.
Working on strategy.
Yeah, I wasn't getting out of it. Not with Katie as my partner.
Yeah.
She's like, girl, get on that bike. I'm like, oh, no. It was great,
The
though.
first 10 are not bad. The
No.
last 15 calories, my legs
It's the
die.
middle 10 that you're just like, why is the dial not moving?
Yeah. It's brutal.
It's terrible.
Anyway. Love the assault bike.
Yep.
Learning to love.
Establishing a relationship with the assault bike. That's what I'm trying to do. So those were great.
Mm-hmm.
So big booty, big legs.
Yep. DECA.
Doing the thing, eating a lot, trying to get all the food in for the next 2 weeks.
And she's going to be starving.
And then I'll be
She's going to be a
starving.
very angry person.
We got to dial the flame back. Because we'll talk about that today with our love and sex talk. Let's see. Energetically, like you, this past week, I had an immunity dip. And it felt like the energy in the universe, that full moon was rough.
Yeah.
Like
The snow moon.
yeah, kitties were losing their shit. I got really like, ooh, I had this immunity dip. And then the day after the full moon, when was it Wednesday or Thursday? Full moon?
I think it was Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday, I literally went to bed after our late meeting with Denise. Went to bed at 6:30.
Late meeting.
Yeah.
Our 5:30 meeting.
When you get to our age, late meetings are 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, I don't want to do shit after 2 o'clock. When you're up at 3, come on.
I know.
You know the drill.
I think late meeting, I'm like, it was 5:30.
I know, and it was funny.
And?
Denise
Still
had the day off, and so she was all like perky. You and I are like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I went home, climbed into bed at 6:30, and did not get up until 5 o'clock the next morning because I actually didn't have to get up until a little bit later, which was beautiful. And that really helped. I had ginger tea mixed with chamomile tea, went to bed. It's amazing what some vitamin C, tea, and rest will do.
Oh, rest is, it's what we don't get enough of.
Primary pillar of health
Rest
is rest.
is just dressing. That sleep is crucial.
Oh, so good.
Which is why you need to pay attention to that. If you don't feel well, go to frickin' bed.
Go to bed, drink the tea, drink the water, go to bed. And like the next day, I woke up and I was like, boom, gone.
Yeah.
It was great.
And a lot of people wait too long.
Agreed.
They wait until it's worse than it should be.
Agreed.
They don't get that sleep before.
And that's what I appreciate about Ayurveda and the Vedic sciences is that you become so aware that all of a sudden, because I had to go to, well, I didn't have to, but I trained with Grayson on Wednesday. And he's like, how you feeling? I'm like a tick and a half off. He's like, I get it. And so, we coordinated the workout accordingly, really just doing some simulation and transition stuff for the race. And that was super helpful because just listening to your intuition, which I'll jump up to the intuition part of it for the check-in, listening to like, okay, right now my body needs to rest. I need to sleep. And listening to that, game changer. Because like you said, often
Your brain
people
wants a hijack. Say, no, push through it.
yeah, push through it. You're fine. You've got 10,000 things. Like, dude, that email's going to be there tomorrow. Like, don't care.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Which mentally, emotionally, when I started to feel like a tick and a half off, and I'm like, dude, we've got this race this weekend. I can't, like, this started to happen. I'm just like, oh, God. And then it was just like, and something Grayson actually had said to me on Wednesday, he's like, you have 2.5 days until the race. He's like, that's a long time, for you to rest and recover and all of that. And like, I didn't think of it that way because I think like, oh my God, it's Saturday and today's Wednesday and I don't feel well. Like I really got to, you automatically assume that it's going to get worse. And it was like, no, just drink the tea, go to bed, drink the water, and you'll be fine. And I took extra vitamin C. I actually took some elderberry as well and gone.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good. So the mind calmed down and also just tapping into the Nilakanta meditation, which was fantastic. Already talked about the intuition, and then spiritually, I'm just keeping up with my meditation practice.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get more nidra in this week, and I didn't. Which, I got to get better at that.
I struggle with that because I turn my phone off to airplane mode.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to do a nidra with it on airplane mode.
Yeah. It's kind of hard.
And I know I'm going to fall asleep if I do it. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
All about it. So, yeah. So, like, all in all, this and the weather is tough.
Yeah.
It's
been really cold.
It's been
until today.
Yeah, it was 6 degrees. I know today when it was 35. I'm like, wow, this is balmy. I know, I'm sweating here.
Yeah.
So, but
6 degrees for us. I mean, I know it's way worse in other places in the world, but
6 degrees is cold.
Cold for us. Yeah,
it's cold.
Cold and dry.
The cold and the dry part of it. I think if you have some humidity, like when it would quote get cold in Oregon, it didn't feel as bad because you had the moisture.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
Yeah,
we're gonna make it through.
Yep.
Relatively speaking, we've had a mild winter.
Yeah.
Like it snowed 3 times, and each time the snow was like off the ground the next day. So,
and we need it in the mountains, which is where we're getting it. So that's great. I mean, this last storm dumped a ton.
Take
up
it
there. So yeah, that's what I want.
All about it.
So we have water for the summer, and
absolutely.
It's been nice and cold, so the pests will die. Except I have ants coming into my house right now.
I know. They're like, fuck, it's cold.
The snow yesterday, man.
Yeah, man, I gotta
get inside.
I know.
Nope, not in here. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Let them live.
Good stuff.
Yes. So
today, Ayurveda and sex.
Yep. Ayurveda and love.
I know, love.
Sex is a part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. True statement.
And Ayurveda and relationships. So
yes,
having experienced going to India
yep.
2 summers ago, and having taught Hinduism in my class, like,
do you teach it differently now?
Absolutely, way differently.
So
because
different.
now I've been there. I'm like, okay, this is what it's really like.
Absolutely,
this is what I used to think it was like, and now
we're doing this.
Experience it just goes such a long way. And I experienced it for 3 weeks. That doesn't really give you a ton of experience.
No, we're going back.
Way more than what I had. So just, hearing them talk about arranged marriages, which I had always thought must be a travesty and must be awful.
Yeah.
That's
what most Americans think. Most Westerners think.
Yeah. But hearing that they have options of people that they get to choose from and meet. And
is that any different than a dating app?
Oh, well.
Well, okay. I think you know what I meant.
It is because the Jyotish chart is done. And I would say the Jyotish chart is way better than Match.com's questions.
Agreed.
Of who you think you are.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yes.
So yeah. But yeah, I mean, in a sense, it's similar, but I think India does it way more detailed.
Of course.
Because they do the Jyotish chart and they say, okay, out of these nice matches that we think would be good matches for you, see which one you feel you are compatible with. And I thought that was really interesting. Because after having my Jyotish chart done, always thinking that I'm a Pisces.
Right.
Growing up, never really feeling like I'm a Pisces.
Everybody who gets their Jyotish chart done is like, oh my God, I never felt like my Western astrological sign. Like I grew up as in June as a Gemini. And like I can see aspects of it. Like Geminis are very gregarious and they communicate a lot and like, yeah, okay, big mouth, I get it. But like I'm not mercurial.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. There's just aspects of, and then everybody's always like, oh, Gemini split personality. And it's like, I mean, like, no, not really. I mean, like I've got aspects. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then when you get to Leo.
Oh, when I found out that I was Leo, I was like, dude.
Hello.
I totally get the Leo aspect. Because your Jyotish chart revealed from Pisces to Virgo.
Completely different.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I looked into that, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much more sense to me. And there's so much more to it as well.
Yes.
But that was the initial, like, that's why I never felt like I was a Pisces.
Yeah. Well, what's great, just in this context, like talking about the idea of Ayurveda and love and relationships and sex, what's classically done, like you're bringing up in the Vedic sciences, is when people want to judge their compatibility, they get what is known as a Doshas chart, for those of you that are not familiar with that. And Doshas chart is an astrological reading, and it's rooted in actual real science. This isn't like 1-900, Who is Miss
What's my
Cleo?
sign?
Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo. Remember Miss Cleo back in the
Yes.
day? Hello, come and give me a phone call, and I'll tell you that it's not that at all. But it's actually rooted in science based on when you were born, your time, date, location, and location meaning like, your country, et cetera, et cetera. And the actual alignment of the stars and the planets at that particular time from the second that you came into being. Boom. There's this snapshot. That provides a map for your entire life. And what's fabulous about that is that it goes into great detail into all of the houses, and I'm not going to go into major detail because there's a lot, and I'm not a Jodashi. We got to get Casey Scott back on to talk, but your Jodas chart gets done, and then the potential partner's Jodas chart gets done, and then it looks at compatibility points and also things that you may struggle with, which the follow-up question to all of that is, if there are points of struggle, are you willing in the relationship to put in the work to overcome those struggles? It's not like, oh, you're not compatible, so therefore you shouldn't be in a relationship. Because I think in Western culture, we do a lot of it. Like, if we're not 100% compatible, we're out, kind of thing. It's like, no, relationships and the cultivation of love requires work, just like anything else. And so that paints a very different picture for relationships starting. And so when people are like, oh, well, these marriages are arranged, that's not necessarily the truth anymore in terms of, people have a choice. Yeah. And nowadays, maybe in villages and stuff, they're not necessarily trading, livestock and land for, a dowry or anything. Look, we did it in our culture, and everybody's like, oh my God. Yeah. But rather really looking at compatibility points for, are these two individuals, are they going to be successful in maintaining a bond? And also in Vedic astrology and in Vedic culture, there is a lot around, cultivation of family and stuff like that. Yeah. Are they going to be successful in having children and maintaining a family, et cetera, to keep the lineage going? That's part of their tradition, not necessarily ours. But the reality is that you have there's a much lower percentage of divorce and separation.
That's what I was just going to say. They have some of the lowest divorce rates in the world because they're not looking for the next shiniest thing. Correct. They know that they have something that is going to take work. Yep. But they have, set up that they're willing to work it out. And in this culture, we're just, it's not working. What else is out there? Right. Let's see what else is out there.
Let's see what else is out there. And by the way, let's hire expensive lawyers, and so that
lose half of our wealth.
Exactly. Like, if you really
gateway
think
to
about
poverty, get divorced.
Amen, sister. Amen. Which actually, this is a great launching point because it goes into, again, from a Vedic perspective, this idea known as the Purusharthas. And the Purusharthas are part of the Vedic culture that talks about what are the four aims of life. What does every human that comes into existence want? And we all want some innate things. So the first thing is what is known as kama, which is pleasure. We want to enjoy things. We seek pleasure. We look for enjoyment. We look for happiness, all of those kinds of things. The second thing is what is known as artha, which is wealth. We're all seeking wealth. And not necessarily like wealth as it relates to the dollar, but abundance, this idea of abundance. We want an abundant life. We want an abundant family. We like abundance in food. We like abundance in a lot of different things. Wealth is just, an overall category. The thing that's very interesting about the idea of wealth from this Artha perspective, from the Purusharthas, is that we're also looking at wealth from the perspective of give and receive. If I cultivate a lot of wealth, physical, material wealth, how can I then give back? So there's this constant cycle of abundance and wealth and actually getting pleasure from that experience. You know, we always feel good when we help other people or we donate our time or, you know, whatever the case is. The third pillar in the four aims of life, from the Purushartha perspective, is what is known as dharma, which we talk about all the time, purpose. What is your purpose in life, and how are you cultivating that purpose? And then finally, moksha, or liberation. We are all seeking freedom. And this actually goes back to also like Buddhist philosophy. All beings are seeking freedom. That's what ultimately we want. These Purusharthas actually also can be layered right on top of the idea of love and even sex. Everybody is seeking in relationship, in whether it's sexual relationship, which is always a part of love. It's not, one's not better than the other. They have compatibility. We are seeking pleasure. So when we first come into relationship, we're looking for pleasure that we get from being with that person. And not only in necessarily an intimate way, but also just being in relationship with them.
Yeah.
Then we layer on this idea of wealth. Like, we feel abundant when we are in relationship with other people. We feel that we are becoming better because we see ourselves in other people, they see themselves in us, and we have this reciprocal exchange. So there's abundance. There's this artha that happens in relationship. Dharma, when we get together with somebody that we feel pleasure with, that we feel abundant with, we design together purpose. What kind of life is it that we want to live together?
Like you and I, we
Right.
have a relationship
Right.
that is very based on dharma. We have a similar purpose.
Boom.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is also one of the keys in the Doshas chart. You know, really identifying each individual's purpose and like, do those purposes come together, or do they balance each other? They don't have to be identical, but do they balance each other? And then finally, this idea of moksha. We are all seeking liberation, and we want to feel connected in relationship, but we also want to feel free. So, you know, that's one of the things I always say about my marriage with Michael. Michael will never ask me to be something that I'm not. And that's a very liberating feeling.
Yeah.
Versus there's a lot of relationships out there where, you know, one of the partners is like, well, you need to be like this, or there's this expectation that they're going to be like that, or similar, et cetera. And if it's not, then there's cause for friction, et
Or
cetera.
the partner has put themselves in that position where that's the only side that they show. So the
Correct.
partner is like surprised when they
Right.
are like, no, I actually want to do this. Like, you never told me that. Like,
Right.
I always thought you liked this.
Right.
And
Or you were always this way.
yeah.
And then when things start to shift and change, then there becomes, you know, some sort of tension as a result. So the Purusharthas, these four aims of life, actually do overlay on top of the idea of love and intimacy and all of that. So
Nice.
and the Doshas chart is like a great initial way to map some of this stuff out.
Yeah. So then the doshas fit into that,
Oh boy, do they ever.
right?
Oh
So
boy. Yep.
Vata, Pitta, and Kapha.
Yes.
So I did a little searching
Oh, this is exciting
on just
for me.
more on kind of the what life might be like if you're dating one of these people. So first, a little rundown, just
Yes.
reminder: Vatas are again elements air
And ether.
air and ether. So they're very kind of energetic and in the ether
And mobile.
Yep, very mobile. Lots
Movement
of
related.
transportation. You got the pittas that are very fiery and fiery and heated and
Transformational.
Yep, transformational. And then the kappas, a lot of structure.
Yep.
And they all have their positives and their negatives.
Kappa's
So,
they also like consistency. Mm-hmm. So like if you get into a relationship with a kappa, like that's the long haul. Yeah.
yeah. So in reading these, I was actually kind of thinking about myself and being like, because I'm tend to be drawn toward the Vata side, but in my dating life, I don't really know if I'm this way.
No,
So
I think I know what you're actually attracted to, but we're gonna leave that where it is. Go ahead.
okay, so I just have a list here. So Vatas. So if you are in relationship with what to expect when you're dating a Vata. So expect excitement, spontaneity, and change. With extra helping of ether and air, Vatas are like the wind. It's basically what it says.
That is what it's like being married to Michael. You know,
They're always
yep, like boop, 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 boop. Yep.
Zest for life. They're oozing with creativity. Okay, which again, very Michael, very creative.
Very.
Loquacious. There will never be a lull in the conversation. And this is where I was looking at like, I don't know if that's me.
You know what's funny? Like when I just reflecting on Michael as a candidate for the Vata, he's very loquacious like at night. Like my husband he's a trip. I love him so much, but he cracks me up. Like my flame is low by 5, 6 o'clock at night, and he just wants to chat it up. He's like, and I'm like, Michael, I love you, boo, but like, whoo, and he just wants to go right into the ether at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, boo, I got to time out on the field on this one. So,
man.
But how about you? You don't feel like loquacious is
no,
okay?
I don't really feel like I'm a chatty Kathy.
No,
really.
you are not.
I'm not.
No.
Inconsistent energy. They have less of these stable elements. Their energy levels tend to wane and wax. Hypersensitive nervous systems. Yeah, I'm there. They tend to be a bit more sensitive.
Very sensitive.
Very delicate
little flowers.
Yeah. Light sleepers.
Yep.
And cold hands, cold feet.
Yep.
So snuggling with a Vata may not be very fun. Anxiety and fickleness. You might find that Vatas require a hard sell to go out with you due to their sociability, which again is not really me.
The hard sell?
Hard sell, yes.
The hard sell. The sociability.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the hard
Where are we
sell.
going?
Yeah.
Will it be loud?
Will it be loud?
Which is maybe fickleness right there.
I'll drive separate.
Yeah, I will drive separate, so I don't have to put up with any of that.
I like this. This is fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Pittas.
Okay.
What to expect when you're dating a Pitta. Okay, so I think this is a little bit of me. Punctuality and predictability.
Totally.
Okay. Pitta date will be on time, if not 10 minutes early. Have little patience for people who are not mindful of the clock.
Oh my God, this is so me. I love it.
Opinions. With a whip-smart intellect, Pittas like to engage in friendly banter and debate. If you don't think she's a Pitta yet, hunger. Feed these people.
Go out to dinner. It's in your best interest.
Dinner is got to be a part of a Pitta date. With an abundance of fire element, Pittas tend to have incredibly sharp digestive fires. Communication. Pittas are clear and direct with their language.
Yes, they are. We scare the shit out of people.
Sun sensitivity. Grab your sunglasses and SPF. Intelligence. Wildly intelligent. Pittas thrive on being surrounded by people with equal agile minds.
Yes. We don't like being on a B team.
Yeah.
This is a lot of you.
See,
you have way more Pitta than you think.
I think I'm more Pitta in this sense.
I also think you got some Kapha there too.
Oh yeah. Yep. I read the Kapha and I was like, yeah, okay. Nightlife during the dog days of summer. Pittas do well to engage in more cooling activities.
Yes.
Invade shade and water. Competition. Pittas love to compete. So take them for a Spartan race and dinner after.
Literally best day ever.
Best day ever.
Like get up in the morning, do something really physical and like compete and get gritty. And
that's what I've been saying, like in, moving forward. I'm like, I want to be doing something.
Right.
Like I can't just sit there. And,
No. And then we get a burrito afterwards.
And you get a burrito.
Oh my God.
Afterwards.
Best burrito ever after the Spartan race.
Oh, so good.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember what the restaurant was.
We're going back.
We're going back.
We're going back in July.
That was excellent.
So great.
Yeah, it was such a good feeling. I was so hungry. Just that fresh air, fresh mountain air, and that activity. Oh.
And then we went back to the
I knew
hotel
what
and
a
watched
Pitta
movies.
feels like all the time.
It's so cool.
Yeah, they went and watched Thor, Ragnarok. Chris Helmsworth with his shirt off,
It was so great.
which you missed. You got to see that part. So kappas, what to expect when dating a kappa? Attentiveness.
Yes.
Kappas have a tendency to be phenomenal listeners. See that?
That's you.
That's me.
Totally.
Slow convos.
yes.
Kappas are known to speak on a slower side. That I also feel like is a little bit me.
Agreed.
Whereas Vatas are lightning fast yippers and Pittas are clipped and to the point.
Yeah. You're not a yipper.
No.
No, you're not a yipper. You can be to the point, but it's a slow burn. Pittas were like, pew, boom,
Yeah.
sharp.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think I'm more Kappa that way. Kappas love their creature comforts. Comfort. These are folks that are loaded up with the coziest couches, mountains of pillows. That's not really me.
dogs on the lap.
Yeah, dogs on the lap. Yeah. Good eats. Kappas love their food.
Gotta eat.
Slow and steady wins the race. Kappas might seem to move at a glacial pace, but this can be a lifesaver for those who live on fast forward. So, a Vata and a Kappa.
It's a good balancing act.
Good balancing. Go with the flow. Takes a lot to rattle a Kappa, which that kind of seems like me, actually. When I can sit in a date for 3 hours listening to something I really don't know why I'm listening to.
I don't know how you did it.
Whereas a Pitta would be like, stop talking.
No, Pitta, we'd say stop talking, then stab him.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That was me. So I thought these were fascinating.
They're great.
Because
what it's like to date the different doshas.
yeah, if you're not gonna do a Jyotish chart, then it might be kind of nice to have a bit of a background as to
Totally.
What makes this person tick really
Yep.
on a date. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Well, and going back to those foundational principles, when we talk about how the doshas reveal themselves in terms of personality and all of that, again, vatas are geared towards movement, communication, and transportation. Pittas are digestion, metabolism, transformation. Kappas are structure, strength, immunity, lubrication. So even just from those adjectives, you get a sense, with vatas, like, whew, things are like this. Pittas, whew, kappas, like things are very grounded. So
So a beautiful segue then is when you've got these three doshas and looking at Ojas.
yes.
So if a Vata dates another Vata and they're both in the ether,
Yep.
their Ojas is probably going to be very low.
Very low.
So what about Ojas? What is the role?
So Ojas, going back to the definition of Ojas, it's one's mojo. It is your juice of life, and it also is, for all intents and purposes, we can draw a direct line to like your immune system. Ojas can be increased or decreased, and we're always looking at having as much Ojas as we possibly can so that we can sustain our lives. Ojas is considered the final product of all of the 7 layers of tissue known as the dhatus. So the dhatus, there is our blood plasma. There is our blood, so rasa, rakta. Mamsa is our muscle. Meta is our adipose tissue or our fat. And we have, so rasa, rakta, mamsa, meta, ashti, which is the bone. And then we have shukra, which is our hormone level. And so rasa, rakta, mamsa, meta, ashti, maja, I'm sorry. Maja is in between. Maja is the bone marrow. And then shukra is our hormone level. Ojas comes from that last layer, shukra. And shukra is our hormones. And so if we look at this from just like a physiological standpoint, Ojas comes from our hormones. That's essentially what the Vedic texts and the Ayurvedic texts set us up for. And then that Ojas, that mojo that comes from our hormones, goes back into the cycle, goes back into our blood plasma, blood, et cetera. And there's this constant cycle that's happening all the time. If our Ojas is disrupted, then the other layers of tissue don't experience full development. So then we experience issues with our blood plasma, which comes into the form of dehydration. That's a classic blood plasma vitiation, as we call it. When something's vitiated, it means it's not in alignment, it's out of order. And then that kind of goes down the line. Then if our blood plasma is experiencing vitiation, then our blood experiences vitiation, which can lead to inflammation, et cetera, and then all the way down the line. I won't bore you with the 7 layers of tissue. But ultimately, Ojas is that ideal potency. And so we're hoping that all of the layers of tissue are constantly functioning in their optimal level so that we have the most Ojas. As it relates to our relationships, anywhere along the chain, we can experience disruption. And if there is disruption in that Ojas, then there is disruption in relationship holistically, not only just in our physical bodies. Where the doshas come into play is that the doshas can either enhance that Ojas or it can deplete that Ojas. Mm-hmm. So one of the things like Vatas have to be concerned about is the levels of anxiety and energy and movement, et cetera. When we are constantly moving, constantly using our energy, using our immune system, it will get depleted a lot faster. So we'll use an example of, let's use a fitness example. Somebody who is constantly on the cardio machines. It's funny because I use this example because there's this one gal that I see every morning at the gym who is on the elliptical trainer going 1,000 miles an hour. I never see her lift a weight. Ugh. She's always sweating and has very little muscle tone. And I can see the Ojas, I can see her mojo just burning out, like just depleting out of her because there's this constant movement. And it's like on that elliptical machine, she's like going 100 miles an hour. And it's like movement, 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 movement. There's no rest. And I think she's on that machine for like 75 minutes every single day. I know, right? Doesn't, like, my heart hurts. And there have been times that I've like wanted to go up to her afterwards and be like, hon, are you eating? Like, are you resting? Are you hydrating? Are you lifting weights? So, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
So then from the perspective of Pitta, Pittas, because of the fire, can burn Ojas out if we overdo. If we're so similar to Vatas, but Vatas, it's constant movement, constant movement, constant movement. Pittas, it's constant intensity.
Yeah.
Intensity, intensity, intensity. And that, like any flame, can burn out, and it can burn your Ojas out. Mm-hmm. So where all of a sudden it's like intense, 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 wall, boom, done. And I've experienced that many, many times. So it's something that like I, as a primary Pitta, have to be really concerned with. Kappas, what can happen is with Ojas, they actually have the container for the most Ojas. So like my Kapha people out there, you have the most immunity, et cetera, and energy inside of the body. What can happen though is if there is less movement, if there isn't the equal exchange of moving the Ojas and there's just constant stagnation or heaviness or just relying on like, because they tend to be slower movers, then Ojas can deplete by not being used, not being recycled and moving through it. So like that's how Ojas on a physiological level operates. Now, from a relationship standpoint, if you are in relationship, again, with these characteristics of Vata, where it's like, da, 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 and things are like, bing, 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 and I'm here and I'm there. And
you're both like that.
Yes. And
let's go over here and let's do this.
Exactly. Then you are going to absolutely deplete your Ojas. And ultimately what will happen is your hormone levels get depleted. So people who have a primary Vata constitution are actually the ones who experience the most hormone irregulation or dysregulation. So a lot of folks who will go into, doctors, an Ayurvedic doctor, a naturopathic doctor, whatever, who are experiencing imbalanced hormones, a lot of that is because of the characteristics of Vata. Not necessarily a Vata person, because you can be a Vata person and be very mindful like you are. But if there's constant movement and that depletion is happening all the time, then hormones can get depleted. And let's apply it to sex. Okay.
Let's do.
Why not? With sex, if there is constant sex, like lots of it, that will deplete your ojas and you will absolutely feel like crap afterwards. So I know, especially, young people out there.
Honeymoon time of the relationship.
The honeymoon time of the relationship, and also just youth in general, where it's just like, oh my God, I got to have sex all the time. One of the most depleting experiences, especially for men, is ejaculation.
Yeah.
If there is constant ejaculation, constant, whether it's in the form of masturbation, whether it's in the form of actual sexual activity, in however one does that, if there's constant ejaculation, that depletion is going to happen very quickly. From a Pitta standpoint, if there is intensity, constant intensity in the act of sex or sexual activity, if it's always intense, where it's very heated or very experimental or things along those lines, burnout.
Yeah.
Ojas is just going to absolutely burn out. And with Kaphas, if there's not enough sex, where there tends to be more of like, maybe I will, maybe I won't, et cetera, then the reserves get really built up as well. And so Kaphas have to look more towards like, okay, having it as part of the routine, as part of any kind of daily, not daily, but like regular daily. Sorry, guys. I meant to say as part
I
of
don't think guys are bothered by that.
Right. As part of daily maintenance of the body.
Yeah.
But having regular sexual activity to maintain the potency is an important thing.
Yeah.
As well. So
Just the concept of having a relationship is not always about sex. There's many different ways to be intimate.
yes.
That preserves your ojas and keeps that very sacred.
Absolutely.
Then.
Being held. Kissing, holding hands, like those kinds of things. You can have intimacy in many ways. We're very sex driven in Western culture. We love porn. We love, we love constant sex, all types of it, a lot of it. It's not necessarily good because it depletes your ojas and causes dysregulation. You have to realize that like the act of sex from a tantric standpoint, going back to the Vedic sciences, is this union between what is known as Shiva energy, which is cosmic consciousness, and Shakti, which is our divine feminine energy. We have both of those energies inside of us. Union happens when those two things come together. So when we talk about unity in the actual act of sex, when there is penetration and then there's intercourse, those two things come together, our cosmic consciousness and our feminine energy, that power of Shakti. That is a very, very sacred union. It's a spiritual union. Yeah. So going back to depletion, if there is constant, intense sex all the time. Meaningless. That's a key there. Wow. With many, many different partners, you are going to deplete your ojas and you're going to wind up actually sick because you will have low immunity, and we also feel void. We feel devoid of purpose. We feel devoid of pleasure, of abundance, going back to those Purusharthas. We feel devoid of purpose, and we feel devoid of liberation. Because
how much freedom do you have when you feel like you have to get the next porn fix?
That's right.
That's not freedom.
It's not at all. It's not at all. And we have to look at the union as a sacred spiritual union. And so one of the things that we don't do as practitioners of Ayurveda, of Vedic science, is that you don't have casual sex. It's depleting, it's deranging in many ways, and actually can turn very quickly into addiction.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
So important for people to hear that, because we do live in a culture. I mean, it goes back to what is the energy that you are taking in, the energy of your food, the energy of your media, the energy of, if you're taking in porn and taking in meaningless sex, then you're taking in that negative energy all the time.
All the time. And you have to remember that, like, when we have union, regardless of who you're sleeping with, that is irrelevant. But when you are coming together in union, you are taking in the energy of that other individual. You are taking in all of their past experiences. You're taking in all of their past partners. You're taking in all of their current energy, their current partners. I mean, you're taking in a lot. And especially as women, we do a lot of receiving, because we don't have the same type of, quote, ejaculation that men do. And also, for the record, ejaculation requires a lot of energy. I think the statistics are that there's 350 million sperm that are released in one ejaculate, which is enough to populate the United States. So that's a big job.
Yeah.
So when that happens with a man and then they're tired afterwards, there's every bit of their energy, both spiritual and physical, is going back into replenishing that. If that is happening all the time and there's no opportunity for regeneration, you're going to get sick.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's the same thing with women. You're receiving that. You are receiving that energy. So whatever that potency or lack of potency is, you're receiving that. And that can be either a state of dis-ease or it can be a state that is ojasic.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, Ayurvedic tips to help preserve your ojas?
Eat good food.
Yep.
Regular exercise. Hydration. Surrounding yourself with cultured things like good music, good quality company, beautiful art, good media, things that are not going to distract or deplete the mind. And honestly, from a relationship and sexual intercourse standpoint, be very diligent with the partners it is that you have.
Yeah.
That's ultimately one of the biggest things in terms of preserving your ojas in this context of be very diligent with the partners it is that you choose, because you are not only, again, receiving their energy, but you are also looking at union. This is cosmic consciousness coming together with feminine divine energy. And we want that potency to be really, really unified, and we want it to be abundant.
Yeah.
So being very diligent with, who it is that you sleep with.
Noted.
Check. All right. Try this, not that.
Yeah.
We're up to that segment, my friends. So hopefully that was helpful.
That was absolutely helpful.
Okay.
I think people are going to eat that up, actually. I think they're going to love that.
You know what? I do want to also share that from a Vata, Pitta, Kapha standpoint, the whole like Shiva and Shakti situation. So Vata is all about Shakti. It's all about energy, putting that energy out, etc. Pitta is all about, when we talk about Pitta, we talk about like the metabolic process and metabolizing things. So Pitta really stands in the sexual act for union, like really bringing the unifying principle together. And Kapha is all about Shiva, that cosmic consciousness.
Okay.
So when we look at Vata, Pitta, Kapha, we're talking about Shakti, union, and Shiva. So just putting that out there.
Gosh.
Yeah.
It's so
I mean,
amazing.
it's so spiritual. Like
Because then I think about Shiva, Brahman, Vishnu.
Yes.
Like the sustainer, the preserver, the creator.
the God. All the things.
Whoa.
I know. It all comes like, but you have to remember the act of sex, of the sexual act itself is a union that brings about birth, sustainability, and transformation.
Connection to source.
Back to source. It's actually the ultimate connection to source. Yeah. It's how we reconnect back to the divine. When we have two individuals that are coming together that create that union, it gives us in this physical body a taste for what it feels like to feel divine. And that actually, and this is like no pun intended, like the act of orgasm is the ultimate liberation. It is how we can experience liberation in our physical bodies, because our physical bodies are the grossest sensation it is that we have. So going back to those Purusharthas, ultimately all of us as human beings are interested in experiencing moksha. Orgasm is a representation of moksha in the physical body, which is pretty damn cool. That's it.
Love it. But so many people are doing it wrong
I,
and meaningless.
exactly.
Oh, so they're not really getting it.
No. No pun intended. So, I'm sorry.
You think you're getting it, but you're not.
You ain't getting nothing. That's it.
Okay, so for try this, not that.
Yes.
That was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to suggest
pun intended.
is
I'm sorry. It was laying there. It was laying there. I could not.
did not plan that. I'm going to suggest try finding out what your relationship partner is, Vata, Pitta, or Kapha.
Yeah.
And start looking at those traits as to, are they compatible with you? If you're a Kapha and you find another Kapha, are you ever going to leave your house? Like, those are things,
Right.
are you going to get too much in routine? Or do you need someone who's maybe more Vata, who needs to spice things up and is willing to be creative, and, you're the one that kind of grounds them down. So those are things to think about with your partner. So I would try looking at what they might be doshically, and instead of just, are they attractive? Do they like dogs? Do they?
It's a little bit more than that.
Yeah. It's a little bit more to it than that. So you don't have to go the India route with, getting your Jyotish chart read.
Although I do recommend that.
I would too.
It's-
Yeah.
I think it's great
absolutely.
information for yourself as well. So
Oh, highly recommend that for yourself. So yeah, that was my try this.
I
not
like
that.
it. Try this, not that. We decided to go with try to look at the compatibility versus do we use lubrication or not? So
Yeah.
that was a discussion
Maybe a little savor.
prior to the podcast recording today.
Yeah.
So, and then the truth bomb. You chose a truth bomb for me
I
today.
did.
I love
Yep.
this.
Yep.
So the truth bomb is love is simple, yet it has become a bit of a riddle. We seek it, but we already are it. And as soon as we see how much we have, we easily attract more. Every relationship you have with another person is a representation of your relationship with the God of your heart. So it's important to cultivate that connection with tender commitment. We are love. Once you recognize that, you will be able to share your love unselfishly with another. I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. And it's true. Every relationship you have with another person is a representation of your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And
They're
it's true.
reflecting back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. I see the God in you.
Yep.
So, and
Namaste.
that goes right back to the Purusharthas, with divinity, there is pleasure, there is wealth and abundance, there is purpose, and there is liberation ultimately. So this is great. I love that one. Thanks for picking it out.
You're welcome.
Anything else? There you have it,
No.
folks. There you have it. You've got relationship, you've got Ayurveda, you've got sex, you've got potency, you've got Ojas, you have all
What
the
more do you
things.
want?
I know. Like, happy Valentine's Day
Yeah.
from our heart to yours. All right. Anything else, my friend?
Just happy Valentine's Day to all of you, single and non-single people out there. So
That was said so copically.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Enjoy the thing.
have a good time.
No. We wish all of you a very happy Valentine's Day. We love and respect you. So appreciate you following the podcast. And for the record, we have new membership options to join our online community to get all of these kinds of things, because there's always more about Ayurveda, potency, sex, relationships, all the stuff. So if you'd like to check it out, go to thewomanwarrioracademy.com. Go to our online circle membership, and you can see all of the options. We have various different levels, various different prices, and we would love to see you there in community. If that's it,
That's it.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Valentine's Day. And Jai Bhagwan, may your soul be victorious.
Is life hard? Yeah, it's really fucking hard. And you can also have the life it is that you want. You just got to work for it.